Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And with pretty much every other major FPS esports suffering for some serious cheating accusations from the coaching side over these last couple of months, what is stopping Call of Duty teams doing exactly that? And X even reckons New York and Paris might want to consider something like this if this team is to improve significantly online. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Of course, the major is not far away, March 3rd through the 6th. As I've said, this month is going to be incredibly hectic for Call of Duty. Straight from the major, back into the Major 2 qualifiers, then the Major 2 actually in Minnesota is right at the end of March as well. It's going to be a very entertaining month on that front. Firstly, a couple of things on the ranked play side. Lawrence Metten points out from the league game designer side over at Treyarch that of course are working on this league play system for, ranked play system for Sledgehammer Games. We had some great discussions around SR this week, like the kind of skill ranking thing they've got going on. It is an elo based system. How much you earn or lose is relative to the skill of the other player, so I guess they're just trying to fix things right, because some people, they did say they were losing SR when they even won, and certain situations they're barely getting any SR when they win as well, so hopefully they can get some of these kinks sorted out. This also, disconnect penalties are coming. This has been, I think, the main frustration so far. People who just quit at the start of the game, or like in the middle of the game, or like even before the game begins, like it's all of a sudden a 3v4, unlucky lads, go again next time, don't really get punished for it. Even back in the Black Ops 2 days, if you quit the game you'd get a 5-minute timeout, which did seem like a pretty big deal at the time, and of course you can make that go up over time as well if there's repeat offenders, which is one of the main frustrations right now a lot of people have with ranked. So seemingly they're looking to work on this. Good stuff honestly all across the board, and even some SR adjustments for players we know are intentionally leaving matches. So if people are deliberately leaving not to lose SR or whatever, then we're just gonna dock them some SR as a result of that anyway. So thought that was some good stuff honestly from the Treyarch front. This also from Clayson then. Let's just check out some of Kraken spawns that Vanguard has to offer once again. So here we are on Tuscan P1, and it seems like, okay, this last guy, number 8, he's trying to hold on to this P1. Number 1 is all the way here in the back. He actually goes into the church, maybe somewhat fighting for this P2 rotation. And okay, so we got the blue team spawning up over here. So where do you think that number 8's teammates would spawn up in this situation? They could spawn kind of near number 8, near the hard point right here, but maybe number 1 is kind of blocking that. They could alternatively kind of spawn out on the other side of the map, but the one place you would not expect them to spawn is right behind all the blue arrows over here on the left-hand side. Like all the 3 green arrows spawn right behind the blue guys, and they just get flanked. Like, unlucky lads, nice try. But yeah, not really sure what the spawns are thinking there. There has been some talk as well from Slasher, for example, in the replies, that there was of course an update kind of recently. People were discussing the aim assist issues that they were having as a result. Spawns got worse after one of those updates, I am convinced. They haven't really changed, just the weird ones happen way more often. So apparently stuff like this did used to happen, but now it just happens more often since one of the recent updates. So usually you would hope that after the game comes out, especially with all the spawn frustrations this year, that over time the spawns will get better and more refined, but if anything, Slasher reckons they're actually getting worse as time progresses, which is like, well, quite something really here so far in Vanguard. But I mean, look, the pros have to deal with it, I suppose. It's kind of unfortunate. This also, just to mention real quick before we dive into the potential cheating discussion, like, well, Chino and Slasher, they were a pretty entertaining duo back on OpTic Gaming Los Angeles in the Modern Warfare days, and they actually placed second at one of these online events. I think they lost to FaZe in the grand finals. That was when Chino was in the team, and well, as he says, Slasher placed second with Chino, got benched without him, right, because as soon as well, Chino, I guess, dips from the team, and well, the team changes go down. Slasher then goes on to Los Angeles Thieves next year, gets benched from the lineup, wasn't really too ideal. You cropped out my response. Again, I ran that team that got second and wanted to keep you, had no power in the other one that played roster roulette trying to guess last year on the Los Angeles Thieves side. So yeah, difficult times for Slasher. Now he's out of that organization, no longer has to deal with Jacob as his coach, and we'll see what Los Angeles Guerrillas do this year if they underperform. Will they make drastic roster changes like 100 Thieves as an organization generally seems to like to do right now? This then from the New York front as we're going to dive into, because it seems like the roster they had for the last couple of matches of the stage they are going to continue with here into the major. So as Scrum says, my POV against you today apparently dropped a mega kill potentially in scrims. And well, yeah, Dad just dropped a mega kill. TJ Halley 32. No, it was probably like, okay, Krimuka Chala dead, Royalty in his corner dead, Hydra behind us one shot. Okay, nice try. Hydra got the kill. Pretty funny. But of course, what this does mean is that Royalty, well, still in the lineup, right? We did look at a couple of days ago. Is it possible that, Royalty could be out of there? Could Neptune potentially come back in? I must say, I wouldn't be incredibly surprised if that change was made after the major and they do try like Neptune in again. Like, I still think it would be a surprise, but it wouldn't be overwhelmingly unlikely. I think they give that a go. For now, it seems like they are going to stick with this current roster, but of course, their success so far has not been particularly impressive. And while Eggs mentions this back at the start of 2021, I don't know who's cheating and who's not, but it's unfathomable to me that in an esports in 2021, it's even possible to cheat. Where's a decent anti-cheat? So of course, that's the thing in the amateur side, especially the challenger scene. screen, people could be using cheats, and some people certainly are, to great effect. But in the Pro League, we imagine that's not going to be an issue. Like, they play on league-sanctioned PCs, therefore if they have anything dodgy installed, it's going to get checked out. There are things in place to deal with integrity issues within the game. But, well, a big discussion over the last year or so, really, in many different FPS esports, has been coaches cheating in ways that, well, are obviously difficult to detect. So Counter-Strike, if you guys remember this, about a year or so ago, maybe more than that now, there was this coaching bug that was discovered, that some pros for years had been using a bug that allowed them to kind of spectate the entire map from a location nobody knew they were and get free information, relay it to their team. So if Counter-Strike coaches, like quite a lot of them were caught doing this over the course of many years, frankly, then you have to wonder, okay, could coaches in other esports be doing something similar? And then not that long ago at all in the Valorant side, there was unauthorized communication cheating going on. So in most esports, it's been decided that the coaches can't speak to the players inside the game itself. They can speak in Counter-Strike and Valorant in timeouts, but in Call of Duty, for example, they used to be able to speak to the players all the time and give them all the information they might need in real time. And in Halo as well, and other esports like that. It was eventually decided by the CWL, and the CDL has kind of will continue this trend onwards, that, okay, it's a skill gap, really, to make the players have to think for themselves in that way. Like, let's say you're a player in a Search and Destroy, it goes around 11, like, your coach could just tell you in your ear, okay, they've been doing this, like, adjust in this way, but the players really themselves have to not only play the game and call the strats in the rounds, but also realize what the opponents are doing, what the best strat is. Like, there's a lot more skill in that, you could argue, than just having a coach tell you. For example, in Hardpoint as well, like, the coach could just whisper in your ear every 20 seconds, like, hey, 20 seconds to the hardpoint pops, like, rotate, something like this, and therefore the players don't even have to think about that, because the coach is just giving them all the information and doing the in-game leading for them, when the players just have to think about shooting. So as a result, it's not allowed for the coaches to speak to the players in the game itself. They can only speak to the players after the game concludes to give them ideas on what to do in the next map. However, X kind of points out that for these online games, it's not impossible for the players and the coaches to actually be in this type of communication. X asked the question, because it's been an issue in Valorant, we'll look at it in a second, could the coaches potentially be plugging into the daisy chain of the communication for the players, doing exactly what I've just discussed, and not being detected by the league?
And I have a question for you. Is there a camera on the player, like where they're playing at when they're playing?
Yeah, they all have POV cams.
No, they have POV cams, but there's like a cam of the room.
Yeah, I think the league, this was mentioned a while back in the first season. They have like integrity cameras to make sure people aren't like doing any bullshit in the room.
Well, my question was because, and obviously I don't think any team is doing this, but it's just what I thought of. Because you mentioned everyone's daisy chained. Like, could Ray, I'm not saying they are, but could Ray technically just plug into that last mix amp, run that 3.5 millimeter cable down the hall, have his mix amp, plug his headset in, and be in their comms? Could that be possible?
What advantage would that give you, like, when you go to land, because you couldn't pull that off?
Well, none, but hey, at least you start in winners round 2.
Yeah, but you would hear him on feedback through some other mics, wouldn't you? Well, that's kind of how daisy chains work.
Maybe
so
not. If you're taking from TeamSpeak, maybe not. And look, I'm not advocating for cheating. I don't believe it.
That's not like
no, I know. But I mean, like, I'm not advocating for anyone to cheat. I'm just curious if that's possible, because I mean, like, we're talking about, like, in the moment, people not saying stag. I mean, maybe New York or Paris should look into it. But I'm not saying anyone is or should. I'm just saying I was curious if it was possible. That's all.
So look, there's no proof that any of this is going on. It's unlikely, I believe, any of this is going on. I don't think any of the pro teams would be doing it. But it does make me think this has happened not only in CSGO, but also in Valorant over the last, only year or so, really. And this is a big discussion of the last month in the Valorant side that, firstly, it really happened when a coach of the T1 squad put in their chat, help sewer. So, but he accidentally put it in the all chat. He was meant to just put it in his own team's chat, which is something we don't really have in Call of Duty. The only real way you'd be able to do it in COD is if you're actually in the audio itself and hooked in such a way that the CDL couldn't actually hear that going on behind the scenes. Now, Ben was kind of asked the question by Eggs, and Ben couldn't really give him a good answer, right? He was kind of saying, well, look, if you do this, then on LAN, obviously you won't have that advantage, which is, of course, true. On LAN, you wouldn't be able to get away with it, right? They'd realize what you were doing, but you'd have to be standing there next to the players, talking to them in real time. It would be rather obvious that you were cheating in that sense, but at least as Eggs says, you get a good seed, right, for the major by if you were wanting to abuse this, right? And in Valorant, it has been happening. Like, X10 Crit in the Thailand side just a couple of days ago got disqualified for exactly this, unauthorized communications. Their coach, it seems, was in the chat with them and was discovered while talking to them in the game itself when he shouldn't have been allowed to. Therefore, the entire team was disqualified. Even G2 got a warning for this because there was a clip that came out a month or so ago, maybe just over a month now, in one of the qualifiers, that one of their coaches was heard in the communication, like kind of celebrating when their team won a particular round, which just kind of shows the coach was in their comms, and yes, he might not have been speaking in the other rounds and giving them any information, but I mean, still, it was deemed necessary they got a warning for this. So there's like many examples over just the last month, really, in Valorant of this happening. And like, as Ace kind of says, look, is it possible for that to happen in COD? And maybe it well is, right? Like, is it possible, as kind of Ace says, as Ben says, sorry, like maybe like you'd hear the feedback right in the daisy chain if someone did connect in, but it might well be possible, like it probably is possible if they really wanted to get around these integrity cams, and for Revan to be down the hallway, right, in another room, hooked in such a way that the CDL, when they do their comms, they can't hear, but of course Revan is there in the background saying something or other, giving them some pointers, like in the game itself, which of course is not allowed, it's against the rules, it's cheating, but it may well be possible to do that. So definitely intrigued to your perspective in the comments below. I don't think any of this is going on, I certainly hope none of this is going on, but just the trend, right, of how this has happened in many other, well, even like higher tier, really, FPS esports than Call of Duty the last several months, like it does make me wonder whether any teams are giving this a go. And even Nick says, look, maybe Paris and New York want to look into something like this, because yes, there are integrity cameras and there are ways that the CDL tries to deal with potential cheating issues, but something like this could get around it potentially, and that's the way that some of these other teams in other esports have been cheating to try and gain a competitive advantage. Very much intrigued to your perspective. This just to finish up with Money Hill stats as well, just a great Twitter account right now. Some cool stats really on a wall. Percentage of hardpoints on all the maps where 40 plus seconds were scored by a given team. So for example, on P1 Garatu, over 55% of the time, 40 plus seconds were scored. On Bacage, it's a very different story. No one has ever got more than 40 seconds on the P1 hardpoint on Bacage. Same on the P5 Berlin, actually. And it's just interesting, right, the way Garatu, like a lot of money hills in general on this map. That's why I think it actually plays quite well for hardpoint, to be honest. It plays like a more traditional game. I think that these stats in like the 50% are probably what you would expect to see on at least 2 hardpoints. Like a map like Fringe, for example, in Black Ops 3, very well designed, where P3, right, Grandma's house was like generally the money hill. On that map, you'd probably see like 50, 60, 65% maybe, where a team would actually score 40 or more points. And generally, that's kind of the numbers you want to look for. Bacage is certainly an exception to the rule. But very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on a like button. Tells you YouTube, God, this is a good video. I just like you should see it as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.